Jim Murphy has been accused of being less than honest with voters over plans for spending cuts. He had said a Labour government wouldn't make further cuts after 2015-16, but was slapped down by Westminster colleagues. Today he pulled back on his initial position, insisting they would balance the books and make savings. Our political reporter Carol Erskine has more.
This election isn't child's play for Jim Murphy, with his party trailing the SNP in the polls and no sign of the tide turning. Today he was visiting a nursery in Cumbernauld to set out how Labour would help working families. But it's a row and attacks over spending cuts rumbling on from last week that's resulted in backpedalling today.
Well, the IFS have been very clear, Nicola. We don't have to make further cuts
Ed Miliband
after
said
2015 and 2016.
During STV's Leaders' Debate, he said there would be no further cuts, repeating this again on Sunday.
The IFS are pretty clear, is that we don't have to make further cuts to achieve our spending rules.
But he was slapped down by senior party colleagues after Labour's manifesto launch yesterday.
The leader of the Scottish Labour Party will not be in charge of the UK budget. The leader of our country, the next Prime Minister, Ed Miliband, will be in charge of the UK budget. He was absolutely clear there will be a need for further consolidation and cuts throughout the rest of the Parliament.
There will be cuts outside non-protected areas across all these budgets, which will apply in England and in Scotland.
Today I set out to establish exactly when spending cuts would end if Labour get into power.
I've been clear from the beginning is that we will have to make savings on those
When
pensioners.
over the duration of the Parliament or by 2016?
Well, I've been clear from the beginning is that we have to make savings, and we'll make savings, for example, on the richest 5% of pensioners.
No, we know about the policies, but I'm asking, will it be over a year or will it be over 5 years?
Well, we've said, and Ed Balls and I have got a similar view, we've said it, campaigning together in Scotland, is that we want to get the current spending in balance. We'll do that as soon as possible. We'll do that as soon as possible in the next Parliament.
It's either 1 year under your plan or 5 years under theirs.
So no, the IFS are pretty clear about this.
When will the cuts end? 2015?
The IFS are clear about this.
2016? But you were slapped down yesterday for your comments. I mean, come on, you need to be able to say when will the cuts actually end.
I'm clear and the Labour Party is clear that we will balance the books and we will balance the books fairly.
Opposing parties called on him to get his story straight.
We've heard repeatedly Ed Miliband and Ed Balls say that Labour, left to its own devices, will implement further spending cuts, and yet Jim Murphy's been trying to pretend that that's not the case. Well, I don't think there's any hiding place for Jim Murphy on this issue.
He's pretending that there's not going to be any cuts when he knows that there will be. I think the reason that you see Labour's poll ratings going down, the Conservatives going up, is because we are straight with people. We tell them exactly what we're planning to do and why we're planning to do it.
There seems to be a degree of confusion about whether there will be cuts or there won't be, whether there is tax cuts or there won't be, whether there's more borrowing or there won't be. I think they are utterly confused.
With 23 days to go until the polls open, voters will ultimately get the final say on who they trust most with the economy. Carol Erskine, STV News, Cumbernauld.